We finally have the Cayenne back from the body shop, and that means only one thing. They did their job, they're part of the job, so now I need to strip the whole front and back again off the car and get everything prepared for painting, since in this episode we are going to paint this car ourselves. It feels great to be back. I have spent most of the summer trying to fix some things around the garage, and I painted the ceiling, and as you can probably hopefully see, and I am still to succeed to stop the water coming into the garage from all over the place. It took me way longer than I wanted it, and like I said, I'm still not done. That's why the whole thing took a back burner for a long time, but now I'm ready and eager to start working on the car. Since I got it back from the body shop, I've just put it back on the wooden blocks and whatever not. And you've probably already seen the previous episode. If you didn't, I highly suggest watching, because we found out some pretty disgusting things about the engine of the car. I've sourced hopefully all of the parts for the new used engine to be put back together. That's the next episode. This one has priority because we don't have much more of this beautiful sunny weather and nice temperatures. So I want to use this opportunity to paint the car before it gets too cold to paint. And yes, I am going to try to paint the car myself, or at least all of the front body panels, including the engine compartment, which has a chassis leg that's been replaced, so it's white on a black car. It's really easy to spot, and I don't want it to be that way. And I just want to do overall repaint of the front of the car so it looks nice, because all of the panels have some small dents and stuff that I just want to make sure that it looks as good as possible. I also want to try to paint it myself, because I think it's great opportunity to learn something. And like I've seen in the thousands of videos that I've watched online on the subject, if I get it wrong, I just need to let it dry, sand it, and then do it again. So like I said, yeah, risks are involved like in everything else, but for the yellow car back there, it took me around 2,000 euros to paint only. And I got myself a bigger compressor, spray gun, and hopefully all of the supplies for the paint, the lac, or the clear coat, sanding papers, pads, whatever not, for like 450 euros. So we are well within green to get this car painted 2 times if necessary, and still be quite under what they would probably ask to paint the car. That is why. And of course, I just want to see how hard it can be. And you know, those are famous last words for many projects. But yeah, like I said, I'm just curious how hard it is to paint the car yourself. You never know when you're going to need to paint like a bumper or front fender or whatnot. So it's a great skill to have. It doesn't have to be perfect, of course, because this car is going to be driven in the capital of a European country, which means small streets, lots of traffic, lots of parking and whatever not. So I don't expect it to stay perfect, even if I paint it perfect. I just want it to be good enough so you can go past it and don't say, right, oh, look, this car has been painted with a spray can or whatever not. All right, so you hopefully saw everything I did so far. Most of it was in time lapse, so I don't bore you just like I bored myself to death. There's one thing I hate, either doing it on the house, on the car, whatever. I hate sanding things. And in order to paint this chassis leg, we need to sand it, of course. I've chosen a P600 grit. So that's if the part has been painted before, just to get it rough enough so a new layer of paint sticks. At least that's what I found out in the internet so far. So please make sure to watch until the end of this video to see whether any of this that I'm showing you makes any sense and if it works, because if you pause right here, go straight to your garage and do stuff just like I did before, knowing if it's worth doing, then you might end up with some bad paint job. Hopefully not. I don't know myself. We'll see in the future. So yeah, back to this part, preparing it for a paint job. What I did so far, you saw me, I used, where is it? I don't know where I left it. I used this steam cleaner, and basically it's a little less than 1 liter. So it's the smallest you can buy, and it really does the job well enough so you don't need anything better. Of course, anything better would be great, but I think it was 10-15 euros. I don't know, maybe I bought it used, I can't remember, but really cheap. And it goes between the two parts, in the seams, nooks and crannies, you name it. The best thing to clean the engine compartment or even the interior. Basically, you can clean anything with it. It doesn't leave a lot of water residue, so you can go with a nice clean microfiber towel and just wipe the vapors off. Excellent thing for cleaning. So what we have here is hopefully clean enough chassis leg. What I wanted to do, I'm not quite happy with how they did the seam sealers this time, so I'm going to go ahead. I got myself a I don't know how you say it. It's like a liquid moly seam sealer. So I want to go ahead and do one more round of seam sealers before we can start painting, because I don't know how long I need to leave this wet on wet, up to 2 hours. Well, what does it say? Almost no odor. Yeah, we're going to leave it a couple of hours before we can start doing anything else to it. But yeah, the idea is, let me show you what I've come up with. Of course, I'm going to use this and provided nozzle, however you call it. What I did is I got a regular paintbrush over here. It's 1.5 inches or 38 millimeter, just if you are that precise. And I just cut the bristles off halfway, so they are pretty firm, so to say. What I'm going to use this for, hopefully, is I'm going to try to mimic the texture of the seam sealer that's done at the factory by robots. I know it's not going to be the same. I don't want it to be the same. I want it to be nice enough. Obviously, I don't want to hide that the car has had an accident, being that I'm uploading everything to YouTube for everybody to see. But I just want to make sure that I've done that the job is done to the best of possibilities. I also want to learn as much as I can whilst doing this. So this was one of the things that, wasn't done to my standards. Wasn't done bad enough. I just think it could have been done much better. So I'm going to go ahead and do a round of seam sealer, and hopefully you'll get a close-up of some shots. So let's go. Seam seal. Oh, you gotta see this. I am over the moon on how good this thing is. Let me just show you. What I did is I used a lighter to heat up this nozzle a bit, and then I squashed it in the middle so it looks like the hole looks like this instead of being round. It's like squashed, and what it did is it created really a perfect, whoops, let me just quickly, whew. Now of course, since I'm filming, look at this, you can almost do, if you're precise enough, you can almost do an OEM kind of bead. This is not what I'm going for with this particular sequence. Let me just quickly go ahead and show you. But I am really happy how the Liqui Moly is doing. So, and then with a bristle, and then just slowly work it in. Ooh, now it's a bit much, like so. It is really soft, which is great because it gets into the spots where you want it really easily. And let me try to get it off the brush as much as possible. So you can go ahead and kind of lightly comb it, or however you want to call it, and it's going to do not drip. Yep, just like that. Yeah, I'm happy in with how, yeah, I'm going to go a bit lower over here, but I'm really happy how this turns out. All right, there, we almost got it to the OEM spec. Let me just quickly, I need just a little bit more on this side over here. Release the tension. Oh, I need to hold it in my hands and then just slowly work it in, whatever you want to hide, or not hide but protect. Hiding is in this scenario a bad sounding word, but you see, it looks OEM. Let me show you somewhere where it's a bit more accessible. All right, let me try to show you what I mean on this thing over here. It started seeping. So by just slowly pushing in and out, you can create kind of a really nice bead. Also, this is not a place where I want this type of bead to happen, but if I was looking for this, I'll be really happy having this type of bead over here. I don't know if you can see it well enough. Let me just quickly take you handheld and try to focus. There we go. Look at this. Beautiful. We're just going to go ahead and do this to all the other seams that I wanted to repair, and then yeah, we'll be ready. Yay, great, I finished everything. Look at me. Look at my hands. Look at me. I'm completely soaked in seam sealer. Anyways, I'm going to either let it dry and then just rub it off, or yeah, I don't have an alternative. But anyways, oh my goodness. Now I have it on. We've done every single weld once again, and I can tell you this Liqui Moly seam sealer thing is amazing. It's already starting to cure, which is great. It says 2 hours before you can paint it. I'm probably not going to paint today, but yeah, it's easy to work with. It doesn't string and leave those hairs that I found on the seam sealer that came from the body shop, so that tells me something, and it smells really nice. Yeah, very happy with that. After I've purchased this one, I found out that another company called Teroson or whatever, actually makes seam sealers for the manufacturers, I think. So that could be the other way to do this, because that seam sealer, it's supposed to be in the right color, right specifications, but you need an air gun to... You understand it, it's pretty complicated. This thing was, I think, 11 euros, which is great, and I've used almost, I used half of it to get the job done, then I went one more turn just to make sure that, yeah, everything is covered. So now I'm really happy with how this looks like. We're going to let it cure. In the meantime, yeah, I'm going to wait for this to cure so I can clean myself, and then I'll need to make a plan of what's next. All right, I think I deserved myself a cup of coffee after all this preparation work that we done. Hopefully you saw I put a thin film over the front subframe, the gearbox and the new used engine. That is going to be a different story, and I've put a piece of paper on here which is going to be my test subject. This is where I'm going to adjust the paint gun so it has a nice pattern, a nice amount of material going out and everything. We have also, maybe we need to get you closer for that. So, we also managed to protect, I hope, everything. I don't know how exact I'm going to be with spray gun, but I hope this is well enough. Maybe this hole needs to be slightly better protected. Yeah, now it looks perfect. So yeah, this is our point of interest or area of work. This side as well. So I think we are well enough protected, so no overspray goes anywhere. As you can see, this part of the frame isn't painted by the factory, so I'm not going to go much over that part, mainly on the inside and of course on this side. That means that hopefully we are now ready to start painting. I need to clear some stuff from the background. Like I said, I don't know how much of an overspray we are going to get. But yeah, I think I'm going to start with a cup of coffee, get everything set, I need to put my camera a bit farther away, so change the lens as well, so you are not blinded by a, what's it called, metallic jet black paint. And I ruined my camera, of course, so we don't want that to happen, and I want you to see what I'm doing. Also, I have a compressor. My air compressor wasn't feeling it. As you can see, I had to remove this cover, this plastic cover, which makes it nice and beautiful, because it was getting really hot in here, inside of the compressor, and I wanted to make sure it has better cooling, since I don't want it to die on me halfway through. I mean, this job is not as important as when I start painting the hood and the fenders and the bumper and everything. But yeah, it's going to be a bit louder than expected, so I'm considering either going time-lapse or maybe just film and then put some music on, so I can swear and use my favorite profanities whilst this works out or not. Let's get some coffee. Huh? Wasn't so bad after all. I mean, for somebody doing this the very first time in their life, I'm more than happy how it turned out. That being said, there is a clear difference between these two sides, this side being much more smooth and glossy in comparison to this side. Does it have to do with the way I painted it? Or does it have to do with the paint itself, or the way the things were prepared before painting? Or does this side has a layer or two of clear coat? I don't know. However, this was a huge moment for us in this build, because now we know, even if we get caught in a winter time and we cannot paint the rest of the car or the rest of the panels, which I'm really going to try and do, just in case, you know, it's too cold, the paint won't dry, whatever not, I don't know, I can still finish the build of the car. I can build the car completely, because all of the panels are in the same color. They are just either slightly damaged, or I don't know, I just want to paint the whole front part of the car. But I can still finish rebuilding the car. So now we can put the engine in at least. We cannot, because I need to rebuild it, but that's a story for a whole another episode. But this was the key moment, because putting the car together with a half of the chassis white and half of the chassis black wasn't going to be an option. So now, this being black, it looks OEM. I know you can still see that it has been repaired. There are seam sealers where there shouldn't be, or where they aren't supposed to be from the factory. So yeah, but now at least it's the same color. I'm going to do my research and see if I can do a coat of clear on top of this, just to make it more looking like the other side, so more OEM, because I don't know if I didn't apply enough paint, or what is the issue, but it seems just a bit more matte than the other side. Yeah, the other thing you can see while I was filming the process, I ran out of paint 2 times, and I ended up using almost 500 milliliters of paint, so half a liter of paint, which yeah, was much more than I expected, because when I bought the paint, the paint guy told me with a liter of paint you can basically paint the whole car. And I have a liter of paint. Now I just don't know whether I'm going to be able to paint all the rest of the panels with that much paint left. Either this complicated geometry uses more paint than just regular panels, or I used much more paint than it was necessary, and therefore it's not glossy as the others. I don't know. I'm going to do my research, post the photos to a couple of Facebook groups or whatever not, and let the people tell me what I did wrong and what I could have done better. My opinion is that I'm very satisfied with the results. It looks exactly like how I wanted it to look like. So now when you step a couple hundred feet away, looks OEM. No, just kidding. It looks great just as it is, and it was very important to do this before it gets cold. In the process of painting, I have learned a couple of things. You need to adjust the pressure of the air every time you adjust your pattern of the spray gun. That was new to me, and yeah, you saw me. You can see it, yeah. You can see it on the camera. I used a piece of paper and just adjusted the spray pattern to be like worm-shaped. I don't have a better word for it. Like a, I don't know. And I used a dot pattern for places where you cannot reach close enough with a gun. So you need a smaller pattern that can shoot paint farther away to get in those nooks and crannies of the chassis leg. I'm going to let this thing dry for a long time. In the meantime, I'm not going to take any of the tape away, because if I end up going a clear coat over it, maybe I'll just use a spray can, so I don't have to do the whole shenanigans of cleaning the gun and whatever not. On the other hand, it would be great to get to know the materials I'm going to be using on the rest of the panels. That's partly the reason why I did this part first. I wanted to see how the spray gun works, how the paint applies and everything. So it was kind of a learning curve, and that's why it would be a great thing to do the same with the clear coat and just spray clear on this leg as well to make it look more like that, and to get to know how the clear coat works and how does it spills, does it leaks. Yeah, I didn't get a single run of the paint nowhere on the part, so that makes me extra happy because I was kind of counting on it. But yeah, I was either too lean with the paint, or I just did a great job. I don't know. You get to tell me. But yeah, I'm probably going to let this cure or set, or however the professional expression is. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the POV as well. I hope I didn't spray over my camera whilst doing this. And I'm going to come back probably a couple of days later to finish either clear coating or preparing the rest of the panels for paint.
75 years later.
I'm going to be honest with you. I have used every single excuse I had in my head not to start doing this, because honestly, I am terrified that something is going to go wrong and then I'm just going to ruin everything and I'll have to do it all over again, or maybe even never going to be able to do it right. The truth is, I already did something wrong with painting the chassis leg. I was supposed to mix the paint with thinner, like 1-to-1 mix it with thinner, and I didn't use any thinner. I just smacked the paint into the paint gun and started painting, and it turned out okay. So if nothing, that tells me that even if you make mistakes doesn't mean that you are not going to do a good job and that you're not going to learn something from it. That being said, welcome to my back part of the garage. As you can see, the Cayenne is sitting in the veil as it is covered to protect it from overspray. This is where I will be probably spraying everything, so painting. I might add some more of this foil on the ground and on some walls to protect it, but yeah, this is where the painting is going to take place. Like I said, I've just said, okay, you have to do it now, because obviously I am afraid that something's going to go wrong. I just have to live and learn, right? So the idea is, we have the panels laid out. I don't know if you can see, there is a bumper over here, we have a hood over there, and both of the fenders or wings are over there. I already removed the E-Hybrid logo and the glue residue and everything. There are a couple of spots that we are going to have to use a filler on. Do I need to tell you that I've never done this? Or is it obvious enough? I hope it's obvious enough. Or maybe I hope not, yeah? But I've never done this, so I have no idea how this is supposed to work. I know from what I've seen online, the how do you call it, the roughness or the grit of the sandpaper that I need to use to prepare it for the paint and then everything else. I'm for now going to concentrate on getting the panels ready to be painted. That means sanding it down with P600, which is base for the paint. And then I'm going to go ahead and fill the scratches, the paint chips and everything with a filler Then I'm going to sand the filler down to the P600 grit fineness, roughness. And I will have to check online what's the next step, but for now I think this is going to take a better part of this day. So yeah, I'll have to put you on time-lapse mode because the compressor that I have is ridiculously loud, and I'm using a Bluetooth earphones headset just so I cannot hear it as much. And yeah, you're going to enjoy watching me take a pneumatic or a pneumatic sander that I got, which is this thing over here. I bought it on Amazon, and I stick a sponge media, I think that's the proper name. So like a 1 centimeter thick sponge that's supposed to add a bit of softness to this pad, and it is pressure air powered, so has a pretty cool sound. But yeah, I need to be careful since I don't know how this thing is going to work. Yeah, going 600 all over these panels, and then I'll let you know how it turned out. In the meantime, I hope you're enjoying something to drink. I have my coffee somewhere over there just to calm the nerves down and to help me get through this. Let's go! All right, first panel. All right. To say finish would be an understatement, but I've made some progress, learned some things, made some mistakes, as they are a part of the learning process. So I want to show you what I did, what is left to be done, and then I'll do exactly the same on the other fender. So let me show you. What we have here is a left fender. As you can see, let me just quickly use a microfiber to wipe it. You can see a uniform matte finish, and that is what we're looking for. If it's not uniform, it kind of shows something like an orange peel. And here you don't see anything, it's just plain one colored, one shade of whatever color it is. All right, okay, so let me show you what I've messed up. The obvious spots that it is the easiest to make mistakes are these ridges, as they are the like the uppermost point of this panel, and when you push on the sanding pad, this is where it gets the most friction. And I went through the primer all the way, I think, to the middle here, as well as maybe here as well, and definitely here. I don't know if you can, there it is, a spot. So, what is now left to be done? I would love to go over those patches where it looks like an orange peel once again, probably using a hand P600, but as you can see, this sanding paper is on a sponge, so it kind of smooths up the pressure coming from your fingers. What I need to do is go, I hope you can see very well, there is a shiny line right next to the edge. It's not on the edge, it's right next to it, 3 to 4 millimeters off the edge. This is the lowest point of the panel because the paint probably wants to collect on the edges, creating a slight valley right next to it. So as you can see all the way around the panel, especially over here and over here, you can see that I've sanded the edge of the panel, but right next to it, it is a complete glossy and still untouched finish of the clear coat, and we need to sand that down with with our hands, because that is not where the panel wants to go. After that, I need to sand all of those edges, so you can see right next to it all the way around. Why are we doing that? Because you won't be able to see this part once the hood is closed, but it is very important to go around the panel that you're painting, simply because the paint wants to stick to it. It's much easier to stick to this panel if it can grab onto it like this, not just sticking right like this. So that's why I need to sand all the way on the back side of this panel, all around the edges. These edges as well, because this is impossible to do by sanding disc, so I need to do it by hand. So I give the paint more area and better mechanical grip, so it grips onto the panel, and of course so that it doesn't start peeling when it's cured. So yeah, the goal is to make every single panel looks like this, uniform and matte, and all of the edges nice and clean, also looking like that, and avoid going all the way through the paint to the metal, which is inevitable doing this for the first time. I'll show you afterwards how I'm going to go about those spots where it's all the way to the metal. But now, yeah, I just want to go through every single panel and then also identify where the bumps are, or nicks, or how you say it. Let me just quickly, yeah, much better. All of the spots that I need to fill with a filler. So that is going to take a lot more time, because sanding that to look perfectly flat when painted is going to take a much longer time than this. This is working great. I'm very happy with the Amazon sanding disc, which costs like 30-40 euros, so really not much. And it goes way faster than doing anything by hand, so that is what I'm most happy about. As you can probably tell, because if you watch my videos, you know I hate sanding more than anything else. I would clean the whole house 10 times before I had to sand the smallest panel. So yeah, I'm really happy about the sanding pneumatic, sanding rotational eccentric disc. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that whatever, it swivels around a bit. There is a 3 and a 5 millimeter hub, it's called, I don't know. So the movement of the disc is 3 millimeters, I think, instead of 5, which is usual, because I wanted to have a finer finish, so I don't get those swirls late afterwards when I'm done painting. I hope that helps, no idea. I just thought that makes sense. So without further ado, let's go and sand some more. Got a proper headache last night, so I had to abandon the project for that day. We have both of the fenders finished with P600, so I'm really happy with how it turned out. They are nice, smooth and even. I've identified the spots that need to be filled with a filler, and maybe some spray filler as well for some small chips and scratches. But yeah, as they stand, they are now ready for the next step. What we need to do now is hood and bumper that's behind you. So I'm going to turn you around and continue with sanding. So yeah, let's go. Did I ever tell you how much I hate sanding? I really do hate sanding, because doing the same thing for such a long time, barely seeing any results, is what's killing me about sanding. And I had to sand the wheels on my yellow TT. If you watch that video, you'll know. Sanding this, I mean, the flat panels, it's doable. I think the hood isn't going to be a big of a problem since it's basically a table at this point. But sanding a bumper, I would rather take this engine apart and put it back together 2 times before I ever accept doing this again. Now I have to, since I'm in the middle of it. But yeah, I highly suggest, if you have a friend that done you wrong, help him, tell him to help you with sanding of some car parts. He'll be delighted to do it for you. So yeah, we are now on, let me just let me show you what we've done so far. So, I don't know how much you can see from here. Probably better to put my face in the same vicinity of the focus plane. So, this is what we are after. I need to sand every single panel that's going to be painted to get it rough enough for the paint to stick. Yeah, blah blah, this and that. This is the fun part, you know. Right next to the edge is the low point of the paint and also my enjoyment of doing this. So I need to go by hand. Probably shown you that already, but yeah. And basically do this for the rest of the eternity, most probably, or until I lose my head. But yeah. After we've done that, very important thing, I need to go around the edges and inside so the paint sticks better. I must not forget all of the edges on the headlight washer sprayer cover, that was a mouthful, and every other nook and cranny on this bumper. Which brings me to the point, I used to have, I had a bumper that I needed to spray paint on a couple of cars back that I owned, and the guy was asking, I think, 200 euros or something, which seemed like a lot of money at that time. That was cash. So yeah, now that I'm doing it myself, I realize, okay, it is worth that much money, if not more, because the amount of work that you don't see that goes into preparation for the paint job is extensive. And that covers basically any job. If you think, how do you say it? If you think low of some job, try doing it yourself. You will be surprised how complicated and delicate every single job is, and the best way to learn about that job is to do it yourself for a short or a longer period of time. I hope I won't be doing this for a longer period of time because I'm already losing my head. So yeah, just wanted to make a quick cut and then quickly finish this so we can enjoy working on the hood and then start doing the filler, which I'm most excited about because I've never done it before and I'm super scared. But yeah, if everything goes wrong, sand it back down all the way and do it again and again and again. I really just hope it doesn't happen. I may have developed some gray hair because I was here for what seems like 25 years. Anyways, I think, fingers crossed, I have every single surface sanded on this bumper, and I don't ever want to do this again. Hint, I will have to do it again because there are plenty of spots where I'll need to spray a spray filler on it. Once the spray filler dries, you need to go ahead and sand it back down so it's smooth again. So yeah, plenty of work left on all three of the panels and hood as well. So now that we are done with hand sanding this part, last but not least is this big panel, which is a hood. It has a damage on one of the edges, so it's going to be quite interesting to see how I'm going to be able to fix that. Firstly, of course, I need to sand it with P600 all the way so we can see all of the little spots that also need to be filled out. This is a flat panel, so I hope it's going to be much easier than doing this. So let's go! Alright, I just wanted to make a quick pause and halfway of the job just to try to show you what I'm actually doing and what I'm trying to achieve. So this is the hood that I have just cleaned. As you can see, this is the original paint and this is me, or a reflection of me, and this is what we are trying to achieve. You can see in the reflection that it is a matte surface now. I don't know how visible it is. There we go. You can see how scratches become visible, right? As well as low spots. This is where I've just started to sand, and you can see we can see a orange peel texture because the sandpaper only scratched the high spots. I need to continue working here until it becomes just as smooth as this is. So yeah, of course I have made some mistakes where you can see I've sanded all the way through to the primer or metal, I don't know, which is okay. I am going to be painting over those surfaces with a primer or spray filler, as well as this thing over here. I have a feeling like that the paint job is really thin, even though this is a premium brand and everything. Maybe I'm just wrong, maybe just the sander is just a bit too aggressive, but I have a feeling that this is going way too fast through the paint all the way to the metal. However, I'm happy with how things are turning out. I can see where we need to use a filler, we need to continue sanding 600 all the way through, and then I'm going to go with a coarser grit to address this spot over here. Of course, I have a million things on there right now. So this is the damage. Let it just focus for a second. You can see it has been damaged all the way here, all the way to the metal. So I need to make that nice and smooth edge and then fill out these small holes that are there as well, and then sand them back down with 600 until it's flat, and then we can use primer and then paint. So I'm going to continue working my way through. There's really nothing exciting about it except that it's, yeah, first time doing it, so I'm not going to film the whole process. You've seen me start or do the half of it. I'll make updates when I'm done. You know what I realized in life? Sometimes things need to become worse before they can become better. And there is no exception to this case. Let me show you what I mean by that. You saw that I sanded everything with a P600 and it looked really nicely, beautiful, uniform, matte, finished, everything nicely. Take a look at this now. You see bumper? There was a scratch over here, and now I used a P120 grit to make a rough patch over here, and then we'll need to put a filler in that, and especially bumper filler, which is a flexible filler that can withstand being, you know, bent and warped on the plastic bumper. The hood looks really, really nice when you look at it from this angle. Then you notice there is a patch over here. In the middle there was a big scratch over there. There was a big scratch over here. I went with 120 all the way to the metal. Just a little bit here as well. And then look at this. This is what we are fighting against. You can remember it was just a corner over here. I had to sand it down all the way to the bare metal, aluminium, as well as here. And then now we are going to go ahead and put a layer of filler, sand it down, and then see where we are at. It's supposed to look just like the other side, really nice and smooth when we are finished with that. I'm going to go ahead mix a filler. After that we'll use a spray filler, which is a nicer, smoother finish. Oh, I have these two panels as well. We had a damage over here, so sanded that down as well. That needs to be filled. We had a small dent in here, and I tried several methods to try and pull this thing out, but because I'm inexperienced with that, didn't work out. So I'm going to put a really thin layer of filler over there just to make sure that it's perfectly flat. And you can see clearly over here we have these two eyes, which are two small dents that also need to be filled with filler, and then sand it down, and then filled with spray filler, then sand it down again, and then if all turns well for all of those pieces, then we'll be ready for paint. You can tell I'm bursting of excitement, right? I would recommend everybody try this out. It's fun. Yeah, no, not really. I've been struggling for the past 2-3 hours, I think, and I didn't want to put you through. Bumper, I think, turned out really good. So the scratch is gone, and the most of the filler is now sanded. However, I have made a grave mistake, and let me show you real quickly. We are back to almost square one. You can see some filler is still left there. It is incredibly hard and really hard to sand down. That's why it took me so long. Some of the places I'm really happy with how it turned out. Some of them not really. This is where I had to sand it down all the way, so now I'm going to go ahead and use another type of filler, a normal filler, to try and remedy the mistakes that I made. However, I have made a mistake even before I started with the filler, and I forgot to clean the panels before putting the filler on. I hope it's not going to be much of a problem, especially because I've sanded most of the filler down. But this is what I should have done. Wipe the panels with anti-silicone just to make sure there's no fat and anything impurities on the panel before putting the filler on. Second thing I have issues with is I have no idea, for example here, how to make it look straight. I have no idea if this has done anything, if this has made it worse or better, because I don't know how to make the, you know, you can, when you have like a small dot or something to fill, it's okay, but when you have to make a curve and everything, and it also needs to align with everything, I have no idea how to do that. So I'm kind of stumped right now, so I'm going to go baby steps and then see where it gets us. I think I'll have to try with a black primer when I'm finished with the fillers, just to see if I can see the contour of the panels and if there are still bumps or dings and dongs on whatever not left in them. So yeah, now take two on the filler, see how it goes. All right, I know this part is a bit chaotic because it is here as well. So yeah, I wanted to give you a quick update. I have now put a regular filler, the yellow one, on the spots that were previously filled with aluminum filler, which was a pain in the hands to to sand down. So now, since the bumper is over here, whoa, over there, and finished, I mean, at least, you know, with sanding and filling, I'm going to go ahead and use anti-silicone degreaser to degrease the whole surface. Then I'm going to use a, what is this called? This is called, of course it's in German, but it is like a filler in spray, and it's used to fill a slightly smaller scratches, paint chips and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and wherever I have exposed plastic, wherever I sand it through the paint, and wherever I have some sort of scratches, small scratches, I'm going to go ahead and spray that in 1 or 2 layers on the bumper. Then I'm going to sand it down with hand with 600 grit, and that would basically mean that it is ready for paint. In the meantime, this is going to dry, the filler that we did, and then I'm going to sand it probably by hand. So if that turns out great, then I'm going to go ahead and use this on top of the filler that we just put, so because this is much smoother surface. And yeah, a couple of sanding in process, and then we are ready for painting. Yeah, sorry. Doing a whole panel on this. Seems to be. Yeah. I don't think it's enough. We're doing a whole panel. Plus this. That should form us. No, I'll set. Let me see. Okay, 5 minutes, please. Look, this. We'll get like this. I think we can. You want to go? It is the next day. You probably realized I was too tired to speak yesterday, so I stopped filming and did the rest of, I don't know how much I filmed, I forgot. Anyways, I used the whole can of Dickschichtfüller spray filler, if you're English speaker. So yeah, basically I'm really happy with how everything turned out. The problem that I had was getting this side to be completely flat, the side of the hood that was kind of scratched. I think it looks perfect. I don't see any bumps or anything. It might be hard to see with the matte gray color that is the spray filler at the moment, but once we paint it, you should be able to see that there are hopefully no bumps in there. Even if there are, I don't care really. I am kind of nervous, to be honest, but today is the day we should probably paint everything. And I am now concerned about the dust that I've created while sanding, because the idea was to make sure that this is dust free before we start painting. However, that is now not that possible, so I'm going to have to try a couple of things to make sure that we have as low dust as possible. There is a trick where you can wet the floor so it doesn't, doesn't pick up any of the dust because it's wet. I cannot do that inside, so I'm going to put some of the covers on the floor, some of the covers on the walls, or on the garage door. So even if the overspray is everywhere, it won't stick to the parts that are important. Before that, I need to go with P600 one more time over the spray filler, just to make sure that it's nice and smooth. Degrease everything, prepare. I need to drain the air compressor of the condensation, because it condenses water inside the tank and we don't want water inside of the paint, so we have to do that as well. So yeah, a couple of things, but I'm really excited, so let's go do it. Well, it turns out the black primer that I sprayed is actually a high build filler. That means that I had to sand for another 2 hours to get to where I was 2 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago, because I needed to wait for the paint to dry. So yeah, we are now ready, fingers crossed, to start painting. I have set everything so that I can move freely around. And I have a way, an order of how I'm going to paint stuff, so I don't get in a way of already painted panel. I have also put a foil on the floor so it doesn't get that much dust. That being said, I did sand afterwards, but yeah, can't have everything. So I have put you way back there because I don't want to overspray on my camera, of course, and I am probably going to time-lapse you, and I'm going to take my hat off because I need to put the camera light, sound protection or ear protection, and probably, yeah, mask as well, so I'm going to be fully fitted out. I also don't want to move around a lot around here because I don't want to introduce, ooh, there's two actually, nice. Too much of a dust around here, but I have something special for you. You will be watching me put on a full painter's pink suit. I'm doing this for you, not for myself, because I know how much most of you watching this channel enjoy some sort of suffering on my side. So I don't want to... Ooh, I'm sorry, I probably killed you with those microphones over there. So I don't want you to be, you know, not entertained enough. I have a fully pink painter suit. I'm going to change now, mix the color real quick, do the panels one more time with this thing called a honey cloth. I don't know if there's actually honey inside, but it is supposed to take the dust off and don't make the panel electrostatic, so it doesn't attract any more dust. I'm going to go over the panels just before I spray them. So let's see how that turns out, yeah? Look at me, I look ridiculous. It's going really well. I was really happy with how things are turning out. And then, of course, the disaster happened. I think the compressor had too much condensation in it and started spitting out water, and I didn't check it out right away. So yeah, it kind of ruined the hood. Let me show you. Let me try to show you. I don't know if you will be able to see. Oh yeah, you see all of the small dots. I hope you can see it. It's not bad. It's not bad, but I can see it. It's especially bad on this side of the hood. The rest of the panels are okay, more or less. I went through 2 coats on these 2 panels, the hood, and then I started second coat of this panel and ran out of paint. I ran out of paint halfway through this bumper, so this side has 2 coats, this one has only 1. And yeah, I mean, overall I'm happy. This is the first time I've been painting something. I really don't like how the parts that I've filled look like. I also don't like the texture of the paint where we've painted with that black primer. I really wish we stayed with the gray one and then just do 2 coats of paint. It is what it is. I have no options of turning back now. I might sand, give it a sand like 1150, 1500 and 2000 grid, and then clear coat it. I'm going to leave it as it is and clear coat it probably next week, which is not usually how you do it. You should wait for half an hour, and then do the clear coat. I want to let the paint evaporate all the way, assess the damages, maybe repair something, and then yeah, and then do the next step. So in the meantime, I'm going to pause right now, and I'll continue filming. Hopefully next week it's going to be a breeze for you. So be right back.
Many months later.
I've honestly lost count of the days, so I have no idea which day in a row of working on this painting we are at. However, I have spent whole day yesterday sanding down the hood of the Cayenne. Why? Because, let me show you, this thing being a eccentric air-powered sanding machine, 150 millimeters or 5 6 whatever inches in diameter. Takes up a lot of air, and I have a really small compressor which I thought was going to be enough. It's 50 liters, but obviously it's not, so I had to sand and then wait for the compressor to build up some more air pressure, then sand again, whole day. I went ahead and redone the edges with spray can filler, and now I hope that this panel is ready to be painted. However, I've just blown the dust off the floor of the garage, opened the garage door, used the leaf blower to blow the dirt, debris, dust, whatever off the floor. It's not ideal, it's the best we have, so it's the best we could do. Now, meow. The thing we are supposed to do next is, since it's already -6, I think, outside, inside isn't much better, so I need to power up my propane heat cannon, which is quite loud on its own, in order to take the room temperature and the temperature of the panel itself, of the aluminum hood, up to some workable temperatures, as well as the temperature of my spray gun, as well as the temperature of the paint itself. You get the idea. I need to heat everything up a bit so I can work. In the meantime, I'm going to use this thing. Not sponsored, not however endorsing or whatever, this is just what I bought. It's an anti-silicone degreaser. Go over the whole panel one more time, make sure that my fingerprints and water or grease or whatever is wiped off of the panel, so it doesn't interfere with the paint. As the room gets warmer, I'm going to put on some protective clothing, mask, hearing protection because of the compressor, which is going to go around the clock. Not around the clock, but as long as we are working on it. And yeah, base coat, so black paint. Wait for approximately 30 minutes, depending on how warm I can get this place, before then applying 2 coats of clear coat. One is really light, one is heavy, I guess, or medium coat. I have also some clear lenses for some headlights that I'm going to be clear coating in the background. Not relevant for the Cayenne videos, just so you know what I'm doing. So this is the plan. Of course, I won't be able to film audio whilst the heat cannon and the compressor are working, so you will be probably enjoying some nice music while I damage my ears. Let's go! Alright guys, this is the moment of truth. I can't hear anything because I have plugs in my ears and this thing is already loud enough. And yes, if you're wondering, this was the cheapest color, that's why I have it. So, that thing's on the side that is irrelevant. Quality is relevant. So, basically, quick steps. I'm going to mix the paint right now. Put it in the side of a spray gun, and before I start spraying, I have a tack cloth, which is a cloth that collects the dirt but doesn't create static electricity, so no new dirt is going to be attracted to the panel. Quick wipe with the tack cloth, and then I'm going to start spray painting. First, I'm going to spray paint the edges, and then one light coat, one medium coat of the color. I won't be able to talk because I want to take the microphones off so they don't get dirty. I'm also going to be wearing a mask, so there's no point in me talking anyways. So yeah, enjoy the show. Of course, you saw the mosquito. Yeah. Somewhere between the base coat, so the paint, and the clear coat, the compressor started acting out, so it wouldn't switch when it was full. So it basically kept going all the way until it was in the red, and then there's a security valve that releases all of the extra pressure, releasing the pressure, making sure that the compressor motors continues working, so it wouldn't stop unless I would switch it off. Other than that, there's this. I just realized a couple minutes ago, scrolling through the footage, that my memory card was full as well, so you didn't seem to get to enjoy me spraying the second coat. Yeah, bummer. Anyways, where are we now? We are now done with spray painting. Honestly, it looks terrible. I mean, it has orange peel in a measure that I would now really just want to strip the paint all the way to the metal and then do it again. I'm not going to do that. I have no intention of doing any more sanding and painting whatsoever on this car. I would love to start working on the mechanical part of the car and getting the car finished if possible, because it's now exactly, I think, a year since I got it. Of course, we had the yellow car to finish and other stuff in the meantime, my job and everything. So that's why this is basically a weekend project. However, I'm not happy with the results. Overall, it looks okay, nice uniform color. Here and there are a couple of spots. There's a lot of dust. I'll tell you that much. There is a lot of dust on the car, on the hood. The biggest issue I have is the orange peel, the texture, that some of the settings of either a pressure or whatever, or it's too cold, weren't correct, so that's why the paint wouldn't like flow into a nice and even surface, but rather stay painted as it is. I did have the same issue with the fenders and the bumpers, so the whole front of the car will be sanded with wet sand, 1500, 2000, 3000, 5000 grits, and then polished. That's why I went a bit heavy on the clear coat, so we have a material to work with. So basically I'm going to sand off the bumps to get them even with the valleys, and then polish everything, so it should look okay once everything is polished. Until then it just looks substandard actually. However, first time painting, big panel, black paint. I think it's a somewhat hard paint to paint. I did have a couple of fish eyes from possibly water still coming in. Yeah, there's one over here. I am going to fill them in with some more clear coat that I'm going to mix into a small batch and then fill the holes. However, that's it with the painting. This marks the completion of this mission or a quest, or however you like to call it. Overall, if you are not in a rush with the time and you're in a rush or on a budget, I definitely recommend trying to learn how to paint, because the most important thing I want to say, let me just check. Oh yeah, that's fine. The most important thing here is this can be a Porsche hood or bonnet. However, this can also be a Fiat one or Ferrari or whatever. Once you learn how to paint, you are basically covered across the whole range of cars. You can paint any car. With the mechanics, you are basically either in Volkswagen Audi group or BMW group or Italian. You get what I'm saying. You are limited to just these couple of vehicles. You need special tools for each and every one of them. This skill of painting. Once you've mastered it, once you learn a lot of things, you can apply it basically to any car. And I did learn a lot, obviously not enough to paint perfectly or well enough. I am, however, for the time invested, money invested, pretty happy with the results. And I know I'm going to be able to get them even better once everything is wet sanded and polished. Overall, I've managed to save roughly 1,500 euros by doing the painting myself, or even more. But let's say it was 1,500 euros. So that is quite a lot of money, and I'm really happy with the results and the whole process that I went through with sanding down, painting, sanding down again. I literally spent 2 liters of paint. That's before you thin it out. So basically 3 liters of paint. Yeah, 3 liters of paint to paint these couple of bumper, hood, 2 fenders and a small chassis like overhead. And with that we conclude this episode. As always, if you think there's something you can still learn from me or watch me do stupid stuff like this, please consider subscribing, because there is plenty more to come before we can put this Porsche Cayenne back on the road. Also, I want to thank you so much for sticking. I know it's been a long video. I've been making it for like 2 months now. Of course, it's not going to be 2 months long, but yeah, it's been 2 months in the filming, and thank you for sticking all the way through the end. I hope to see you again soon. Bye!